Okay, you know the feeling. You're telling a story, and you need to remember, I don't know, your third-grade teacher's name. You know it. You can almost feel the shape of the word in your mouth. So what is actually going on in our brains when a word gets stuck like that?
I mean, we've all been there, right? It's one of the most frustrating things. One second you're talking totally fine, and the next, poof! There's just this gaping hole where a word or a name or a place is supposed to be.
It's such a tantalizing feeling. You're just circling it. You might even know what letter it starts with or how many syllables it has. But the actual word, it just refuses to show up. It's this unique kind of mental torture.
Well, researchers actually have a name for this whole experience. So today we're going to do a little investigating. We're going to find out what it is, why it happens, and, get this, what it might actually be trying to tell us about how our memory really works.
Yep, here's the official term, a tip-of-the-tongue state, or TOT for short. And notice, it's not the same as just forgetting something. This is a really active, almost agitated state of almost remembering. The real question is, what is happening behind the curtain?
So to understand what's going wrong, we first have to look at what's supposed to go right. Let's take a quick peek inside the brain's incredible word-finding machine.
Most of the time, this whole process is completely flawless. It's so fast you don't even think about it. You think of a concept, like, a yellow fruit that you peel, and your brain just instantly serves up the sounds for the word banana. It connects the meaning to the phonetics in a blink.
But during one of these tip-of-the-tongue moments, that smooth connection just gets interrupted. It's kind of like a train jumping the tracks. The meaning is there, you know what you want to say, but the connection to that final piece of info, the actual sound of the word, it's just blocked.
And this is where that feeling of pure frustration comes from. It's not just you being annoyed, it's a real neurological event. There's a part of your brain called the anterior cingulate, and it basically acts as a conflict detector. It goes on high alert, recognizing this mismatch between you wanting to say the word and your brain not being able to. And that's what creates that urgent, almost painful feeling of needing to find it.
So why does this derailment even happen? Well, it turns out some words are way more likely to get stuck than others, and some situations make all of us a lot more vulnerable.
The biggest offenders by far are proper nouns. Just think about all the times you've blanked on a person's name. Words we don't use very often are also prime suspects. And then you have those really tricky abstract ideas that don't have a clear picture attached to them. A word like idiosyncrasy, they're notoriously slippery.
Here is the absolute classic example of this. You see someone you know. Recognizing their face? Easy. You might even remember what they do for a living. But pulling up their actual name? Oh, that is a much harder job for your brain. And it's a perfect trigger for a tip-of-the-tongue moment.
And to make things even worse, sometimes your brain serves up the wrong word, which then gets in the way. Like, if you're trying to think of the actress Judy Garland, but your brain just keeps screaming Dorothy at you. That wrong word can actually interfere with and block the path to the right one. So frustrating.
On top of all that, certain factors can make anybody more likely to have these moments. If you're stressed out, say during a public speech, your chances go way up. As we get older, they also tend to happen a bit more often. And, maybe surprisingly, so does speaking more than one language.
Yeah, this is a really fascinating discovery. If you're multilingual, you just have a bigger mental dictionary to pull from. So when you're searching for a word in English, a similar word from, say, Spanish might pop up and act like one of those blockers we were just talking about. It creates a little bit of a traffic jam.
Okay, so far, this all sounds like a pretty annoying brain glitch, right? Just a system failure. But what if it's not a bug at all? What if it's actually a feature?
This is where the whole story takes a really cool turn. What if that annoying, frustrating feeling isn't a flaw in the system? Could it possibly be there for a good reason?
So think about it like this. That nagging feeling is your brain's own little motivational coach. It's an internal alarm bell that's saying, hey, this memory connection right here is a little weak. Let's work on it. That frustration is actually the fuel that pushes you to finish the search. And when you finally find that word, oh, the relief is just incredible. That whole process, the frustration, the searching, the final aha moment, it actually strengthens the neural pathway to that word. It makes it easier to find next time. The glitch is basically forcing you to do a little memory maintenance.
Okay, this is all great, but what can you actually do when you're stuck in that moment? Let's look at some real practical strategies for cracking the case of the missing word.
So the best thing to do is something called cueing. First, stop trying to force the word out. That usually makes it worse. Instead, lean into the little clues your brain is already giving you. What's the context? Do you have a sense of how many syllables it has? Even a fuzzy idea of the first letter is a huge help. Then, if you're still stuck, just slowly run through the alphabet. A, B, C. It sounds silly, but a lot of times, hitting that right first letter is like finding the key that unlocks the whole thing.
The thing to remember is that those little fragments of information that pop into your head, they're not random. That's your brain actively trying to find a different road to get to the same memory. It's not a sign that it's failing. It's the search process in action.
It eventually, through that whole process, you just might find it. Whether it's the capital of Australia or the name of your third-grade teacher, Mrs. Davison. See, it was in there the whole time, stored away in your brain's massive library, just waiting for the right clue. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? The tip of the tongue phenomenon feels like a total flaw, but it might actually be a pretty clever feature that's designed to keep our memory sharp. What other little quirks of our minds might be serving some hidden helpful purpose? Definitely something to think about.